Hi, my name is Clarissa and welcome to another video. Today I thought I'd talk about sci-fi books and my recommendations for YA readers. And without further ado, let's just get into it. So the first one I've got is one of my favourite series of all time, and it is the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. I decided to hold up the one with the sticker on, but I have 3 copies of Red Rising, 2 of Golden Sun and 2 of Morning Star, which make up this series. It's about this guy called Darrow who is a red, and he lives in this world where the class system revolves around colours, and red is at the bottom and gold is at the top. So he, through really awful circumstances, goes undercover as a gold to take down the entire system. And it's so fast paced, the characters in it are so interesting and different and I love them. Servo is my favourite, Mustang, Cassius, Darrow obviously. Oh, it is like such a good series. I couldn't recommend it enough. Pierce Brown does have a series coming out in this world called Iron Gold, I believe the first one is, coming out in January, which I'm very excited for. So this is like a series to get caught up on that. It's just so good. The first one is very like Hunger Games, I guess, based, because he goes into this kind of games in which he has to prove himself. Second one's more Battlestar Galactica, involving like ships and being in charge of fleets. And then the third one is just like everything coming together. Oh, it is just so good. I cried in the last book. It is just, I couldn't rate this highly enough. It is just such a brilliant read. And I flew past this book when I first read it. I read this in like a couple of days, and we were on holiday at the time, like travelling. And then Golden Sun I slowed down because I realised I was reading this way too fast. And then Morning Star, I flew past that one as well. It's just such a good series. I could just go on and be like, it's such a good series, it's such a good series, but it's just the writing style of it, the story itself, I just like, there's so many elements of it that I love. So Red Rising, first one on the list. The second book I'm going to mention is a standalone, and it's perfect if you want to get into the genre, and it is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is basically Matrix meets Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it revolves around this world called the Oasis, in which it's this immersive experience that is basically a computer game, and you have yourself in this game. And a lot of people prefer the Oasis compared to their normal lives, in which the world is kind of crumbling, it's not doing very well at the moment, so everyone escapes through this Oasis. And basically this book is about this man called James Halliday, who decides to set up this kind of treasure hunt after he dies, and whoever wins it gets to take over the empire of Oasis and get lots of money. So there's this guy called Wade in here that decides he's going to try and do it. And there's so many different characters in this, and it's such an interesting story. It's got a lot of references in it. Even if you don't understand them, it's still an enjoyable read, pardon me. Ready Player One I recommend as standalone, one to just test the waters if you're not entirely sure about sci-fi. It's very easy to get into it. I remember reading it so quickly because I was like, did he win, did he win, did he win? So yes, and as well, because it's a kind of teenager that's the main character in this, it's very interesting the choices he makes. As an adult reading it, I remember being so frustrated with him, but it really shows what the teenagers are basically like, in which they kind of are like, I want the girl, I don't care about anything else, I want the girl. It's like, no dude, you're in a game, you've got to go for glory, not for the girl. It's such a good book. Right, the next one I've got is Illuminate by Amie, Kaufman and Kristoff. This one is very interesting to talk about because it's not like a normal novel, it's got files and things like that, and I love the first one. The second one in the series, because there is, I think there's planned to be 3, the third one is coming out this year, and it's a very interesting way of telling a story. It's through kind of surveillance cameras, chats and things like that, and there's like notes at the side and there's like diagrams. It's like very interesting, like names and things like that. I really enjoyed the first one. The second one, because the characters weren't as strong for me, I didn't enjoy the second one as much, but the first one in a whole It took me a while to get into it because the format in which it's written really didn't agree with me at first. It's something that I think you need to kind of push yourself through a little bit, but once you kind of get into the format, it's really, really enjoyable. The second one has beautiful illustrations in it as well. So yeah, if you're like YA trying to get into sci-fi, you kind of want a bit of romance, a bit of action, this is the series for you. And the last sci-fi book I've got is one that's very romance based. If you're someone who loves reading romance and just wants to test the waters with sci-fi, then I recommend These Broken Stars by Amie Kaufman and Meagan. Very romance based, but it does have the elements of sci-fi within it. This is a YA book. It's a very kind of quick read if you're looking for something light as well. It's basically about this guy and girl who are like separate ends. It's basically like Romeo and Juliet, and that the first way apart from each other as possible, and they end up having to survive together through certain circumstances, and it is a really enjoyable read. It's very, as I said, it's very light, kind of one of those like trashy reads in a sci-fi element, so it makes it much more enjoyable. And even as a YA, if you just want something romancy, but you're kind of like, I want a bit of sci-fi, this is definitely a book for you. And those were a few of my sci-fi recommendations, mostly for YA readers. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe down below, leave a comment if you've read any of these books or you're planning to read any of these books, and I'll see you next time. Bye!